Good evening, friends, and welcome. Welcome, Mallika. Why don't you all pick up your cups of tea and take a seat? Feel free. Come.
Take a seat here.
It's a matter of great privilege to have Ms. Mallika Sarabhai with us today evening. Her program got finalized just on Friday when she figured out that there was an empty evening that she is going to have, and she readily said, yes, can we have it on the 9th? And I jumped in. All of us have our own lists of men and women whom we admire. In the list of women that we admire, there are all kinds of women, starting from Mother Teresa to Mallika Sherawat. In my list of women that I admire, Mallika Sarabhai is right on top. A person of immense talent, great intelligence, and great character. There can't be a better combination of what could make a woman a perfect woman. To top it all, gorgeous beauty. I've been talking of having Mallika Sarabhai to Manthan for a while, and one evening I just went to her website and sent a mail to her saying that, look, this is an initiative we have here in Hyderabad, and we would like to have you over. And next morning I get a mail that, yes, when I am in Hyderabad, I'll come and spend an evening with you. That's about as simple as it got. And then one morning my son read the ad of her performance in Hyderabad and showed it to me. And I sent her a mail, and that's how this meeting got firmed up. She is a great dancer, both Bharatanatyam and Kuchipudi. She and her mother had set up the Darpana Academy of Performing Arts at Ahmedabad, which does phenomenal work, and I have you've seen in the invite the kind of things that are done at that academy. And she is a theatre person, she makes plays, she is a choreographer, she is a filmmaker, she is a film anchor, she owns a TV channel, she is a CEO of a business company, whatnot. Most important, she is also someone who stands up for causes she believes in. Right from aspects relating to women's rights to her latest standoff in Gujarat with the BJP government. Every cause that she has found right, she has fought for, and fought with strength and character which are unique to her. That's what sets Mallika Sarabhai apart, and she is a great communicator, as you will all see. So, for all the right reasons, we are honored to have you here, Mallika. This is a group which meets typically once a month. We call thought leaders like you. Spend an evening discussing thoughts, ideas, and hope it enriches lives of all of us here. That's the whole objective of this small group. This is about as simple a business plan as you can imagine of any activity. And there you are. Mallika Sarabhai. present a book.
I'll present a glass of water to you.
Do you want a product or do you want
No, no.
your 5 minutes?
Pani. That.
When Ajay said that the normal format of these meetings is that the speaker speaks for 1 hour, I said, oh my God, I can't speak for 1 hour. So I won't. I can answer for an hour, but I'm not going to speak for an hour. I just thought I'd share some experiences and thoughts with you and then really throw it open to you to take it wherever you want. And thank you so much. I come from an incredibly privileged background. Not because there was money at all. I mean, that was there, but that was not what is important. I come from 2 families, both first of all hybrid. On one side is a Tambram grandfather who, just to prove how stupid the Brahmins were, did everything in his life to break the silly caste barriers that were put to him. The other, a Nair woman, strongly matriarchal family. On the other side, a very Jain grandfather with visionary ideas of what Gandhiji should do, could do, close associate. The only one who I learned in a textbook when I was 8, the only one who continued financing the ashram when the Harijans were taken in to the ashram. A Vaishnav, Kathiawadi, Diwan's daughter, as a grandmother. Both were love marriages. And they're interesting love marriages because it forms part of the sort of culture. My maternal grandfather was extremely poor and used to, like the proverbial young boy, study under the streetlights in Chennai, wanted to be a lawyer. And one day a man passing by stopped to chat with him. This was my great-grandfather maternally. And said, we are fairly well off, we live in Palgad, why don't you come by Palgad one of these days and I will see what I can do to help you through your education. So my grandfather turned up in Palgad one of those days. And the first person to greet him, he was then about 26, 27, the first person to greet him was a 13-year-old girl, the youngest of the family. He fell in love with her. My great-grandfather gave him a scholarship. He said to her, I have fallen in love with your daughter. She's underage, but I'm going to wait till she's 18. So, he decided that if he was going to be a lawyer, she needed to be educated as well, and it was not good enough just for her to go to the village school. So he hired what was then called a runner. And every evening, he would sit and write out lessons for her in politics, in Gandhian philosophy, in world politics, in humanitarian law and so on. This young boy would pick up the lessons, take the overnight train to Palghat. A Tonga would be waiting for this child. He would then go in the Tonga. My grandmother-to-be would be waiting at her home. She would then sit for the next 2 hours, write out the answers. The same journey would happen back, and by that evening, the young boy was back in Madras to take up the next lesson. And this went on till she was 18 and they got married. On the other side, my grandfather suddenly became orphaned at the age of 18 and had to look after 2 older sisters. And the Diwan of Rajkot said that I have 6 daughters and you must come and see them because I think one of them, the oldest one, is of marriageable age and so on. So he went to see the girl, and the youngest one came out to serve tea and he fell in love with her. And the Diwan said that, you know, our rivaj is that all the girls have to get married before the youngest can get married. So he said, okay, I'll wait. So he waited, and that was my other grandmother. But from when I grew up, and as I said, I was in the 6th standard when I had this chapter in my Gujarati text about how Gandhiji's ashram was shutting down, and this black Daimler drove up, and this gentleman in a suit got out and gave a suitcase, and the suitcase contained 13,000 rupees, and this was 1917 or something. And it was a lot of money then in ashram. And it was not actually till I was in college that I discovered this was my grandfather. Another story that I was brought up on was that my great-grandmother on my mother's side in Kerala, you know, the matriarchal system means that the land gets passed through the daughter. So my great-grandmother was widowed very early. She had 8 children. And this was the time of what is called the Mapla Revolution. The Mapla Revolution was late 18 somethings, and the Maplas were the Kerala Muslims, mostly farm labor, and they felt that they were being treated very badly by the Nair farm owners. So they decided to revolt. So word came to my great-grandmother that she had better flee because there was this huge group of 200 Maplas who were coming, and they were burning farms, and they were raping women, and they were burning down houses. And my great-grandmother had a lot of Maplas working on the farm with her. So instead of shutting house and running away, she cooked a meal for 200 people. So when these people came running, she said, hang on, you must be very tired because obviously you've been running the whole day. So why don't you come and sit down and eat, and then let's talk about this. So they were completely flummoxed by this woman. You can imagine my great-grandmother in the late 1800s wearing a mundu, topless, because good women didn't wear anything. Only prostitutes wore blouses, and that was supposed to be a titillation. So you can imagine this. She was about this high, saying, you know, to this rioters, come in. So they sat down and they ate, and she said, listen, here are all my Mapla workers, so why don't you talk to them and find out? And needless to say, the Mapla revolution for that farm finished there, and they went away saying thank you very much for a lovely meal. But these are the kind of stories I was brought up on. On the other side was my great aunt Anasuya, who my grandfather thought needed to be married because she was older. So under great duress she was married, and she took one look at her husband and decided this was not for her. So there was a tree like this outside the newlyweds' house. So when her husband fell asleep the first night, she climbed out onto a branch, went down the tree, took a train to Bombay, and got onto the first ship to go to the London School of Economics. So she disappeared for 4 years, by which time the poor husband had given up on her. Came back and started the first textile labor union in India. This was the Majur Mahajan. And at that time, her brother, her adored brother, my grandfather, was the head of the Millowners Association of Ahmedabad. And over the next 2 years, Mota Ben, as she used to be called, Anasuya Sarabhai, decided that the Millowners were treating her workers very badly. So, living in the same house, my grandfather going out in a Daimler, Mota Ben walking out to her labor office, she decided to strike against the Millowners Association. So she led her